Why have the police never found anything suspicious in the Nicola Bulley case? Why is it that they just thought that she must have just fallen into the river? Not a single piece of evidence did they find suspicious. Why is that? Let's listen to what the police had to say for themselves during the inquest. During the first day of Nicola Bulley's inquest, Superintendent Rebecca Smith, who manages the complex crime unit at Lancashire Police, was asked by the coroner whether the police noticed anything suspicious in their investigation. Rebecca Smith was also asked if any footage from the CCTV covering the 3 or 4 exits from the river path was suspicious or caused any concern. She said none whatsoever. Now guys, Rebecca Smith saying that there was no concern whatsoever does not surprise me, because from the beginning of this investigation, she's had this attitude where she just seems to know everything. You know, she must have just fallen into that river, even though she had no evidence whatsoever. And whenever a member of public reported something, like 2 men dressed as fishermen, or 2 men hiding their faces, or 2 people hiding their faces, or even the red van, the suspicious red van, Rebecca Smith said again and again at the press conferences that she does not find any of these things suspicious. She said this while Nicola Bulley was still missing. Now, why did she have this attitude where she didn't find anything suspicious, even though she never had any evidence that Nicola was in that river, or that Nicola fell into that river? Because there was no CCTV or any eyewitnesses apparently. And what's even more puzzling is that these things that were reported to the police were actually really suspicious. For example, the suspicious fishermen, it wasn't the fishing season. They were spotted by more than one witness. They tried to hide their faces. I mean, it couldn't get any more suspicious, and yet she never found that suspicious. It was the same thing with the red van. It wasn't just one witness, it was multiple witnesses that reported seeing the tatty red van, and yet she didn't take it seriously at all. Why did Rebecca have this attitude? Now, as I carry on further into what she said at the inquest, it only gets worse. Superintendent Rebecca Smith also said there was nobody of note who caused concern or was acting unusually, and there was no intelligence that suggested third-party involvement in the case. Guys, how can she make that statement after what we just talked about the red van, about the suspicious fishermen, and now we also know that there was a man dressed in black? There were screams heard in the area. It couldn't get any more suspicious, and yet she said that there is no intelligence that suggested third-party involvement in the case. She said that there's no one who was cause of concern or was acting unusually, even though the person who reported the red van said that that van was very unusual. It wasn't from the area. It was parked outside his barn. He would know. Now, from what I can tell, and most probably you guys feel the same, that it seems like she's trying to cover something up. Otherwise, she would have been open to investigating every inquiry, every line of inquiry. She would have tried to investigate properly. But yet, she never had that attitude. She just stuck to her single hypothesis that Nicola Bulley must have just fallen into the river wire. It's completely ridiculous that she could come up with that hypothesis even though she had no evidence to back that up. It seems as though this poor mother of 2, Nicola Jane Bulley, her whole life, the loss of her life, was just based on a stupid hypothesis that had nothing to back it up, just a theory which they were not willing to budge from. They were not willing to keep an open mind. Again, why is that? Is it because this is some sort of cover-up? You see, guys, we may not be at the point where we know who is involved in the cover-up, or we may not be sure, but we definitely have got our own hypothesis, and we've definitely got our own ideas of who's responsible. But at least we do know one thing. Using common sense, we can clearly see that this is some sort of cover-up. There is no way that the police's attitude would have been like this, unless it was a cover-up. I often do wonder, will we find out who was actually responsible for her death? Will somebody come forward one day? Will Nicola's children ask for a reinvestigation one day? And will that happen? Now, if we are right in thinking that this is some sort of cover-up, then surely there must be many people involved. And if there are, then surely one day someone may come forward. Let's just hope that they do. Nicola Bulley touched the hearts of millions of people around the world. This happened for a reason. There's a reason why so many people find this suspicious. There's a reason why nobody believes the outcome of the inquest. Because something just isn't right. And if we're really honest with ourselves, there are multiple things that are just not adding up in this case. And the fact that there are multiple things, not a single thing, that doesn't add up in this case, makes it that much worse, makes it that much more suspicious. What happened to poor Nicola Bulley? Did somebody hurt her? And where was she all that time when they were searching the river? Why couldn't they find her? Experts like Peter Folding clearly said she's not in that river. And then, magically, she appears. And who finds her? A psychic. All of this just doesn't seem right at all. And if things were not confusing enough for you guys, well, Peter Folding, he's completely backtracked, and now he's saying that he found the body within the first 6 minutes. What is going on here, guys?
At that time, I trusted the police with that they had searched that and it was nothing. So
it all boils back to you relaying the target information over, doesn't it?
I was baffled. We did not get an opportunity to clear that. So I'm assuming I'm wrong.
At 10:53, we found the target at 10:34, 10:53 on the 7th. I sent that to the police search advisor, including an image, and I asked him if we could dive this target immediately. And he said, no, you are not to dive, we are to dive it. So we had to wait 2 or 3 hours for the police dive. They got there at 1:15. They dived the target, we carried on upriver, trying not to draw attention to the media. And they dived it and come back and said it's nothing. But
what did you think of that at the time?
Well, I was baffled and my team were baffled, but I went home that night and I said, come back the following morning, I said to the police sergeant, we need to dive this target. We need to go and have another look at this. I want to also search the weir. He said, you're not diving, you're not doing it.
And it's only when I got up later on towards the inquest, when I started to prepare my files, thinking, I just need to take these images out of my computer to start looking. And it's all time date stamped when I'm doing it.